say, okay, listen, it's a problem, so we have to have the government to mandate it. It's got to be the government. It has to be the government.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I agree with you on that. And I have to say, and I've been saying a lot recently, I have noticed I've worked my lifetime in politics at one level or another as a volunteer or professionally. I've spent my lifetime as a Republican activist. And one thing I have noticed, and it's certainly very clear to me as a gay person, is that the professional organizations that claim to represent social conservatives have by and large become a professional anti-gay industry. And they have lost their way and have given up on promoting values and conservative social values and concentrated on demonizing gay people and opposing homosexuality. And the fact that those organizations and that small group of Republicans is tolerated is giving everybody a bad name. You know, somebody said to me just this week, they said, but what about the three-legged stool of the Republican Party? What about the foreign policy conservatives, the social conservatives, and the economic conservative stool? And I said to him, you know, one thing we have to know is that stool is a living thing. And if one of the legs is diseased, it has to be cut off so a new one can grow. And I truly think that when I have talked over the last few days about the tolerance of bigotry, I think that the gay stuff is the most glaring example and the most prominent example, and that is where the social conservative movement has gone off the rails. And here's the thing, they've lost. Most Americans have gay people in their lives, and they know and love gay people in their family and their circle of friends. And they know that what many in the Republican Party say about gay people is wrong. So I don't know why the party leadership continues to kowtow to people who, one, have lost the issue, and two, that the majority of Americans think are wrong. You don't win elections by running around the country beating a drum, reminding people that they think you're wrong. And so that is, you know, why I think that Republicans are going to have a hard time ever winning the presidency again. I think, obviously, that they'll win other elections and will win a few here and there on their way to their slow death.
I have said I was ready to leave the Republican Party, at least just really leave the Republican Party when I was 21 years old, and I saw some of the idiocy that was going on in the House and Senate, and really just a lack of leadership. It seemed like, and I like you am registered. Well, actually, I'm not registered as any party affiliation here in Texas because we have open primaries, which I love. I love open primaries. But at the same time, when I was living in Arizona, I was not aligned because I don't want the mailing, and honestly, no real party completely speaks for me. Even if I may agree with them on like 90% of things, they still don't speak for me completely. Are you finding that that's with a lot of the people that you talk to that you're running into that as well?
I cannot tell you how much I have been contacted over the last few days since I announced my change in my registration. And honestly, Taylor, I have been beaten down the last couple of years and just ready to. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this radio show, so I'm not going to say what I have been thinking. But
you can
ready
say
to,
you can break the five words. That's okay.
all right. Well, I was just ready to say screw it, and I in the last few days have been so energized and am so enthusiastic by the feedback that I've gotten. And it's come from Republicans and independents and even a few Democrats who say, I'm with you. I agree. I mean, I can't tell you how many Republicans have reached out to me and said, I'm right behind you. I'm ready to give up too. They just won't get it. And, I have been hopeful. My God, I was the gay who was on national television for Mitt Romney. I mean, I was going on national television telling Americans to vote for that spineless ninny. And, so I'm a team player. I am hopeful. I am the most optimistic person I know in politics. And I really think that my announcement, one, has struck a nerve with a lot of people and really hit home for many, many Americans. But also, it should be taken as a wake-up call for the leaders in the Republican Party. They should say to themselves, how bad must it be if we've even lost Jimmy? And the fact that so many people have reached out to me and said, everything you've said is true, and I agree with you. And very, very few people have told me that I'm wrong or that I've made a bad decision. A few people have, of course, as predicted, called me a rhino. But, at least I'm not that anymore. And, I don't have to be embarrassed to be a Republican in name, and it's been embarrassing. It's embarrassing every time a member of the Republican leadership says something stupid. You remember, after the election last year, one of the key takeaways was our people need to say things should stop saying stupid things. Well, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I mean, I'll tell you one of the straws that broke my camel's back happened just last week when a member of the Republican National Committee from Michigan, Dave Agema, posted on his Facebook page. Now, let me tell you, I have followed him for a long time because he said some of the most horrific things about gay people that you can imagine. And but this time it wasn't about gay people. He posted on his Facebook page, among other things, the line that, what has any Muslim ever done to benefit America? And I was astonished. And that is so over the line and so outrageous. And nobody has said a word about it. Nobody said, all they've said is, we need to be inclusive. We need to be tolerant. Well, no, that's wrong. You need to stand up and say that's wrong because, that has no place in civil society, that kind of talk about other Americans. And it's certainly, look, everybody's free to be wrong. You are free to think and say whatever the hell you want to say. But if you want to win elections, if you are a political party whose job it is to win elections, then you need to condemn that kind of writing and language, because that is so far outside the mainstream that is going to hurt you. And it doesn't matter how good your candidates are. If everybody in America thinks you hate their family and friends because they might be gay or Muslim or whatever, then they're not going to listen to anything else you have to say, no matter how good your economic policy is or how good your policies are that benefit everyone, or how good your politicians are. They're not going to listen because they think that you're out of touch and that you don't like everybody in America. And that problem is so severe that I don't think it can be fixed. And that's why I've said, it's time to pull the plug. This party's been on life support long enough, and those of us who have stuck around in hopes that it would get better need to come to the realization that it's not, and we need to put it down.
You're not going to really hear a ton of disagreement from me.
Mm-hmm.
With that, let's take a real quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'm Taylor. Jimmy LaSalvia is my guest, and we'll be right back after this.
We want to welcome Michael Moore to Occupy Wall Street. I'm so impressed by what I'm seeing here.
How much of people's income do you, Michael Moore, want the government to confiscate?
Probably twice what we're paying right now.
It's not envy, it's war.
Where's the rage? Where's the uprising?
Storm the doors of the New York Stock Exchange.
It is a class war.
If the wealthy paid their fair share. For a documentary filmmaker, I do really well. I'm very blessed.
And the rich thought poverty was bad.
I do well.
They get rid of it.
What pure? There's nothing pure about capitalism.
And they know what's coming on Wall Street.
We're seeing the end of capitalism. And I say good riddance.
He is one of my favorite capitalists. Yeah, I want to give him a hug.
This is the Pint-Sized Pundit, and I am here to tell you that anything Taylor says on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge is his opinion and his opinion only. He does not speak for his employer, his employer's employer, or anyone else. He especially doesn't speak for Liz unless she says so.
Back here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I am your host, Taylor. Jimmy LaSalvia is my guest, and Fishy in the chat room actually brought up something that I want to get to, because she said, I wonder if Jimmy remembers the 1, 2, 3, 4 asterisks we had here with my gay friend who wanted to be a precinct chair. That would be involving the Harris County Republican Party. And one of the things that was released yesterday was a post at a Big Jolly Politics discussing the sad, sad state of Harris County Republicans. In this, he got a hold of some emails where it turns out that some of the people involved in the Harris County Republican Party accused a candidate of being not only anti-Christian, I believe, but anti-social conservative, and basically threw him to the wolves almost by complaining about him being involved. Looking at one of the comments is that somebody said in here, one, Simpson, this guy, has never been considered an ally or friend of Eagle Forum or the Republican Party platform planks on social issues that the Eagle Forum fights for. Simpson has worked for decades against the Eagle Forum, allied candidates, precincts, and rhinos, spelled R-H-I-N-O-S. Simpson has all the support of pro-gay,